What up? It's me. It feels like I haven't done one in ages, but realistically, it's every 2 weeks now, like fucking clockwork since I got a desk. The desk that changed my life. There it is. The life-changing desk. What's going on? I don't know what's going on with me. What have I been doing? Loads of shit. I feel like I'm well busy. Podcasts. More of these. Loads of this stuff. Lockdowns hopefully ended or ending wherever you are. Wherever you may roam, unless you're in Florida, in which case it never happened. Enjoy that. I really hate plugging shit. Oh, if you like my shit, just you know where to go for all the shit. We got a Patreon, the Downbeat. It's £1, and you get this early. And I've got t-shirts, www.thedownbe.at, so it spells Downbeat. That's about it for... I don't really want to plug you too much, to be honest, guys. You might remember that the last episode of the Downbeat was Justine, an episode which I thought I'd lost, right? So when I was trying to find the Matt Halpern episode, spoiler, that's this week's guest, I found Justine's missing episode. Unfortunately, I didn't find Matt's episode, but he did agree to do another one with me. So we did that, and it was good. It was a lovely time. We talked about his new snare drum. He's got a lovely new pearl snare drum. The ins and outs of creating something like that. We talked about NFTs. We talked about replying to comments on the internet. Little shitty little fucking fart sniffers. We had a good old chat. He was sat a little bit far away from his microphone. So if it sounds a little bit like he's in a cave, I can't do anything about that. Apparently there isn't an app for that. I've had a little search. But it was a great chat. He's a very wise man. He's very good at the drums as well. One of the fucking best. But also, he actually got a little bit... What's the word? Let his guard down a little bit about some stuff regarding performing, which I thought was pretty interesting. He's probably gutted that he let his guard down. But I think it's very... normal and should be done more, explaining what your neuroses are when performing on your instrument. So it's actually quite beneficial for you. It's not just me talking bollocks at someone for a couple of hours. So enjoy. It is Matt Halpern on the Downbeat podcast. I'm coming at you now. I'm so sorry, mate.
It's cool, man.
Thank you for coming back, because take two, and I'm recording on a brand new Mac because I just couldn't have that happening again.
Well, so did your Mac crash, or did you clear the files just in the process of clearing a bunch of other shit too?
Yeah. So I have one folder that I put all the podcasts in. So I've got the same. Like mix for my voice or whatever, and I can just tweak the guest. So I did about 3 episodes. So I've learnt my lesson. I'm never going to be this organised ever again. I was like, okay, I've got all these people. I'll get them all in the session. I'll import all the audio or whatever, and then I'll put it on its own channel or whatever. And then when I was running out of space, I select this is what I do on my old Mac because I had like no storage. I would select the unused audio in the session and delete it, like old takes, old podcasts that have happened and I no longer need it. Yours wasn't on its own channel. Erased.
Got it. Yeah, and I usually will wait when I do recordings like this. I'll wait about a week to make sure that nobody hits me up, and then I just clear everything too. So I gave it the week, and then I didn't hear from you, and I just assumed all good. So
I assumed all good as well. It's because I don't like to record the intro until like the day it comes out. Okay. In case there's anything that I have to plug or like current affairs or whatever to put on my intro. So in my head, I'm just teetering along like la la la. Got that episode and then the Matt episode. Everything's fine. Got to it. Gone.
It's fine, man. I'm not pressed. It's not like we don't have free time on our hands these days. So. Don't worry about it.
I mean, it was a fucking great conversation, though. And But that's kind of cool because it was just for us.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, look, I don't think we were doing it for an audience. There might have been certain little things here and there, but it was just good to catch up. So I'm happy to talk again. It's all good, man. I thought you were going to be I thought you were mad at me this morning when I sent that over, but I might have just caught you at like right at the right moment where you were like, come on.
What did I reply? For context,
give me a break. You said give me a break.
Oh, Matt sent me unsolicited technique advice on a video, which was right, but
I don't think it was. Is that technique advice? That's more just like,
yeah.
I don't know.
You said breathe or something like that.
I said
something really Matt Halpern.
I said
if I was making a caricature
yeah.
text from you to me.
I said loosen up your torso. Because you look like you're flexing as you're playing, and if you do that, your arms are going to look like this. And I know that the only reason I say stuff like that to people like you is two things. One, I know you can take the constructive criticism, even though I don't think I'm a fucking expert at everything drumming, but that particular area is something that I spend like all my time in with my students and with myself. So I was like, like, I'm going to say this, and I don't care what he says. Cause
you're absolutely right.
But two, I've seen you play the opposite way. I've seen you play completely relaxed, and there is, whether you know it or not, or whether you've analyzed it, there is a incredible difference between the two things. From a timing, feel, comfortability perspective of just watching you. And like, again, I say it this way because that is the thing that I notice first about any drummer. Some people notice like, oh, this drummer plays fast, or this drummer does this thing or that thing. The thing that I notice first on any drummer is just that quality. And I could tell that you were like tensed up. So I didn't know if it was on purpose or if, like you said, you had just got done deadlifting 400 fucking pounds.
Right, I will be the first to admit that I am the most fucking rigid player ever when I'm playing metal. When I'm playing other shit, I like fucking chill out. But metal, I just go, okay, adrenaline on. But those videos, I was in a fucking hurry to get them out because they're for my playthrough pack. I deadlifted, and then I shot 3 videos back to back, and that was the last video, and I was fucking absolutely fucking shot.
Yeah.
But my reply was in jest.
Well, I'm sure it was, but I also like.
Then you text me saying, "Do you hate me?"
Well, but I mean, one, it was unsolicited, which can be annoying, especially if you don't catch someone in the right moment. And I should practice what I preach in asking someone like, "Hey, can I say this little thing that I want to say to you before I say it?"
Yeah, but we're friends. We're friends.
Exactly, and that's the thing. I would expect you to do the same thing to me. And there's plenty of things.
I'm gonna.
And you should, because there's a lot of things. Look, I might be. I don't ever say that I'm an expert on anything, but when it comes to drumming, the one thing I'm comfortable saying I'm a quote unquote an expert on is like that quality that we were talking about of like just becoming the beat, right? Relaxing. I suck at double bass. I'm not the fastest drummer. My chops aren't fucking anywhere near the ability of every other drummer that's a million times better than me at that shit. I care about grooving, you know?
I think your feet are way better than you give yourself credit for. That fucking, what the fuck is that song? Is it Church Burner?
Oh, Blood Eagle? Church Burner?
Blood Eagle.
Yeah, what? But like, you're catching it on a good night.
Nice. That's what I always say. Like, oh man, you kill it. It's like, most of the time I don't.
I don't. No, and like, dude, my feet suck. Like they tense up all the time. My left foot in particular becomes like a brick, and I don't know what the catalyst for it is. Like I don't know. Like certain nights, my left foot is amazing and it will respond exactly the way I want, whether I warm up or not. And then other nights, it's like a brick and I can't fucking move it, and it gets like literally tensed up.
So this happens to me on my right foot. Probably happening to me in that video, right? I've been to like fucking sports science. I had a sports scientist drum student who helped me with a bunch of the shit and Kairos and shit. And the one thing that helps me with, it still happens, but like limiting that happening, especially on tour, is stretching the quadratus lumborum muscle, right? It's in your torso, which I should be fucking chilling out on, in really deep inside, and there's really specific stretches for it. QL, they just call it the QL muscle. QL stretches, and it's basically when you're sat, it is contracted. And when you look at him, he's getting his pen out. He wants to write this down.
I am writing it down.
When you sit, it gets contracted, and obviously any muscle contracted doesn't perform that fucking well.
That's exactly what it feels like. It feels like whether it's the way I'm sitting certain nights or something, like it feels like I can't even use my fucking legs.
That's me on my right leg. I have exactly the same thing. QL stretch.
Okay, I just wrote it down.
It doesn't get rid of it totally. It doesn't get rid of it totally, but I find if I'm having I get it in bouts on tour. It will just flare up one night, then it's there for 5 nights.
Right.
Then it goes away.
And I second guess myself. Like there'll be parts where I'll have, like in certain songs, whether it's Church Burner or like It's Only Smiles, there are these stretches of consistent double bass that overall are not really that fast. Like I can absolutely play much faster than that certain times, but then other times it's like I can't. It's like my timing is off because my foot feels like it's got a goddamn cinder block on it, and I don't know why. And I wonder too if it's like my hip flexors, like my hips being tight or something like that. But
all of those muscles, the QL is like starts in the torso and goes right down in through your hips. I think it might even be one of the hip flexors, but that's a shout.
Well, I suck at it. And then when I watch guys that like when I was on tour with Federico Pavlovich. So, and I've talked about this before, like that dude warms up his hands every night at a clinic or at a show. Like he needs to use these heavy fucking metal sticks and use a pad and warm up his single strokes and warm up his hands. I don't need to ever warm up my hands. My hands are always there, right? His feet, he doesn't have to touch. And his feet are absolutely insane. And it's like, what is it? Is it, I wonder if it has to do with like your lumbar system or just like your core strength, you know, with certain people.
Or even something like leverages. Like,
I mean,
I'm the same.
He has it dialed in to where like he can explain exactly what he's doing and the pedal settings, the height settings, the positioning of his feet, how he sits. But like, it's also just like that's one of his gifts.
It's just in there, yeah.
Right.
I always think that with double kick. I practiced for fucking years because I love death metal. I practiced for years. And before anyone goes, oh, you didn't do the right thing. I did it all. I did the Derek Roddy exercise, the George Colias exercise. I got the fucking direct drives. I got this, I got that. I practiced for hours. I got fucking private lessons. I got fucking video lessons from Derek Roddy. I did all this shit. I just can't fucking do it. And I wonder, it's like the same way that some people squat heavy and they can't bench because their arms are too long, but their legs have the right leverages. And no matter what they do, they will never be world beating at one of those things. I feel like, is it just the way some people are built? And if it is that, it must mean there is a technique we could use. The people that naturally suck at double bass need to go, like, this is pulling something out of the fucking air because I don't really want to learn this. Swivel is for you guys. Because I've never fucking tried it.
Right. I've never really spent enough time on it. But when I watch it, it's like, oh, I bet I could figure this out. But then the thing is, the same thing happens when I start moving my left leg in this motion back and forth. I end up locking up and getting tight and cramping, and so I don't know. But double bass has never been easy for me, and I don't know if it's because of my body type or not doing the right stretches or not practicing the right techniques. And it's something I've struggled with my whole career as a drummer, you know. And now granted, I never had the bug. Like I never got bit by the bug that was like, oh, like I'm going to spend a year working on building up to being able to play at like 250. You know, that was,
I did it and I never got there.
I think you definitely did. Like I've seen you play double bass, and I watch you play it, and I'm like, yeah, I can't do that to that level. And I know it's like, I don't know. It's just certain people have more strength.
You're catching a good day though. Again,
right.
And the reason I don't write double bass parts is because the day that you saw on the Instagram, 1 in fucking 500. That's why it's on there.
Yeah.
And there's no way that I could write those parts, then go on tour and play it every night. I would just be fucking shit.
You know what, though? It's interesting. The looseness that I always preach to you and fucking, vomit all over everybody is, I have to be careful because it does come naturally to me. And if I look at my body type and the way that I'm built, dude, I am so look, I can bend my pinky back like that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Right.
That is fucking revolting. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Christ.
No, it's okay. I gotcha. But like that's how I'm.
Sorry for anyone listening. He just bent his pinky back the wrong way to touch his fucking wrist, and he's doing it again.
Yeah. But
oh my God.
That's how my body, like my joints are super loose naturally.
It's fucking made of jelly.
Right. So it's easy for me to tap into that on the drums, and you still use like the muscles I need to play, but it's like that.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of like really tight. And it's just, it's foreign for me to be tensed up as opposed to, walk around every day like a goddamn Gumby, which is also why I think the double bass thing is an issue, because I think you have to, when you are playing very fast double bass, there's some stability required in your core to be able to balance yourself so that your feet can go back and forth like that. No matter what technique you're using, you need some level of balance, right? And my core, I mean, it's strong when I go to lift weights, right? When I'm doing deadlifts or when I'm doing sit-ups or whatever it is, like, using overhead, my muscles to lift things over my head, like it's there. But when I play drums, I'm like a curve. Like I'm super like pliable even in that way. And I think that's another reason why I'm probably clamping those muscles that you're referring to, which inhibits my ability.
I think like it's a weird one because people are like, I'm going to do something crazy soon. I think I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to make my seat height different. Just different. I don't know what. I'm just going to make it different to just see. Because, again, we've got all this time. I'm not rehearsing for anything. I'm just going to fucking change my height and be like, wonder what happens. I've tried it before and it was fucking shit. I sit naturally low and I play better low. But I'm just going to do it and see if maybe it makes me even work out some muscles that I wouldn't normally work out when I go back to sitting down.
It's so crazy, dude. I watched Sam Applebaum play, who has amazing feet. And dude, he's on the ground, like literally as low as possible, and can rip with his feet. And it's like, it's consistent. It always sounds good, and it's kind of depressing for me to watch because I can't do that. But then I watch like Chris Turner, and he's on top of his drums, and he's got that same ability too. And I don't know. I mean, it's all about body type, right? Same with Travis Orban, or like. Even watching Mike Mangini play or Thomas Lang, these are guys that to me have insane foot control, right? And then I watch guys like Krim, who I'm always the most jealous of, because that like guys like him are they have the perfect balance of what we're talking about. They have the ability to absolutely rip with their feet in a comfortable way, and then also groove like motherfuckers. Mario from
insane.
Mario from Gojira, same thing. Like has that perfect balance of both, and ability for both.
But I've read in interviews with Mario that he's like, he regrets writing the parts he used to write because he's getting older and they're getting harder.
It doesn't seem like it, but fair enough.
I know, but like I can't. It was in like a French magazine, and he obviously, but he was I think it might have been in Rhythm actually, and he was basically saying that Vinnie Paul told him ages ago, like, start making your parts easier, and he didn't listen, and then now he's like, oh, this bit's fucking really difficult.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like someone like Krim, the swivel, I'll be honest with you, I'm never going to learn it. It looks like something that I should have learned. Now is too fucking late to change my entire career. It's like suddenly like, oh, my job is fucking making rockets. I'll make submarines now. Like, it's such a fucking big switch. But something like that seems to have longevity from a playing point of view. Like, I feel like once you've got that, it's just fucking in there.
It's muscle memory, yeah. And I mean, I watched a number of drummers in the past couple of years completely change the way they play. Like, I don't know if, like Naveen, Copperwise, I don't know if he always did double strokes with his feet. I don't think he did. I think he was using swivel, and now I'm watching him and he's destroying doubles. And I don't have that discipline to be able to sit there for hours and teach myself on a daily basis how to develop that muscle memory. Like, I know what it requires. Like, I totally understand that if I set aside a number of months and committed every day to practice at a certain tempo for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours a day, I could probably get these techniques down just because, and you could too, just because we're drummers. We have the ability to use our bodies in that way. But it's also like, are we going to commit to doing that? Practically, I'm not going to commit to doing that.
I need to make money. There's other to be fucking doing this.
Yeah, and I'm not
Stray from the Path. Oh, I need to play 280 double kick for Stray from the Path. No, I fucking don't.
Right, and I don't really need to do that for Periphery, and that's not a knock on these guys. And frankly,
I'd be sick though.
It would totally be, dude. It would alleviate so much stress that I have. Like when we're writing music that has some of those parts, or when I listen to like even some of the stuff on the new on Misha's new record, the Bulb record that he's putting out, I can't play it. Like I hear it and I'm like, oh yeah, there's like, I'm glad this isn't a Periphery song because I wouldn't be able to play that. But in my mind, I automatically go to 5 drummers that I know could, and I'm like, man, well, they should totally, go play this shit live because I can't do it. Like there's no way.
The thing about the doubles though, right, is you need to change the way your kit sounds for the doubles. You like, unless you've got those crazy little hammer triggers. So you either, this is my beef with them. It's not beef because I have no beef with anything, but like, in order to do that double stroke technique, like the people who are fucking really fucking good at it, you either need to always trigger your bass drum, which means your single pedal technique is going to have to completely fucking change. You're going to have to never bury the beater. So that's already like another offshoot of changing my fucking career to change one setting. Or you need to switch to direct drive pedals. Pretty much universally, you need to do you need to do one of these. Or you switch to direct drives, which again, I play so badly on a direct drive.
I can't do it. Yeah, I can't do it.
Fucking do it.
Yeah.
Or you need to tune your bass drum super, super high to get the rebound. And I will not do any of those. Rudy showed me how, I don't know about how Naveen does it, but how some of these guys are doing the doubles is fucking, like, legitimately nearly cheating. So it's crank the fucking head as high as possible, triggers on, then you play... Honestly, you play single strokes badly, so you get 2 hits. You know, like how when you first learn how to do a double stroke roll and you do a buzz roll,
yeah,
and you go, oh, look how fast I am. That's what some people are doing with these double strokes. They're just doing a buzz roll with their feet. You just have a bit of a shitty, heavy foot, and you go...
Right.
And it goes... I had a go on Rudy's setup, which was set up to do it, because when he joined Whitechapel, he had like... There was one song... He couldn't do it. Naveen recorded it actually on the Whitechapel album, and it was like 260 double kicks, and he was like, I'm going to have to double this.
Yeah.
And I had a go, and within like 20 minutes, I was like, yo, if my kick drum was set up like this, I could probably rip double kick. But then I tried to play just like boom, ba, ba, boom, boom, ba. The fucking rebound and the trigger noise was just like, nah, that's not, I can't do it.
Was there a shit ton of padding in the bass drum too to deaden it?
Yeah.
Right.
It just sounded horrendous.
Right. Well, that's the trade-off, and that's the thing those are the exact same things that I'm not willing to bend on, because I care more about like my preference for the sound of the kick drum and the feel of the kick drum
and the feel.
Right, and I need to be able to especially with what I play, the majority of what I play is groove based. It's not technical speed based. So it's not, it would be an unfair trade-off. And even when like we've talked about triggers in the band, we've totally talked about like, hey, maybe I should get triggers on the kick, and we can trigger some GGD kick drums, and we can, it'll help with consistency. I'm like, yeah, but then it takes away the human aspect of it and everything that I've been doing my whole fucking life.
You'll have to change the way you play to get them to sound good.
Yeah.
Like, and even what you're just saying there about like it's not a trade-off you're willing to do, subconsciously, whether or not you know it or not, as a businessman, it's bad business to spend hours doing something you don't need to do. You don't need to do that for Periphery. So to fucking sit and learn it for fucking 10 hours a day, yeah, you might want to do it for fun, but we're getting to this point in our fucking ages, in our twilight, where it's like, I can't make the decision of like, I'm going to learn how to do this for fun, and then I'm going to unlearn it so I can play fucking gigs. It just makes no sense.
Well, and that's the thing. So I get questions a lot about like, how come you use your floor tom in between your kicks? So like, I'll do like triplets, like, like that, but instead of it being all double bass, I'll do kick, like kick, floor, kick, floor, kick, floor, like that.
Yeah.
They're like, people ask me all the time, how come you do that and you don't play it with full double bass? And, the answer that makes me look good is like, oh, I just really like the way it sounds. It sounds cool. There's some dynamic to it. It's just it's a cool thing. The reality is I'm not able to every night play it with my double bass consistently. Yeah. And if I have to trade off between having the notes there in some form or another, or having it train wreck, I'd much rather play with the notes there some way or another. And if it comes down to like, if there are nights where I feel confident enough and I feel like I can tell like I'm ripping, I'll play it all double bass. But that is like 1 out of 10 shows.
But I have those sections. Dan from Architects has those sections. And a lot of the time it's just like, I used to be able to do this thing, and now for some fucking reason I just can't do it anymore, so then I just change it. And 9 times out of 10, exactly what you're saying, maybe not like, why don't you do that double bass, but people will go, man, I can't. So like, Die Pig by Straven the Path has that 16th note offbeat thing, bagga, dagga, dagga, so it's floor, tom, and kick. Mm-hmm. My right foot, as I've just told you, is dog shit, so my left foot's good, so I do that with my left foot. And what I do, if I'm feeling it on the night, I do it with the right foot, and I have a drop clutch. And if I'm not feeling it, because it's a hi-hat on the left hand. Okay. And if I'm not feeling it,
so it's like the open-handed.
Yeah, I flick the drop clutch and I play it with my left foot. Every time I do that, everyone's like, oh man, that was fucking sick, switching to your left foot. The reality is, I was fucking blowing it with my right foot. Yeah. I sucked. So I changed it, and then you thought it was cooler or like somehow more impressive, but actually I couldn't play a fucking basic drum beat. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you fucking why. Just had to change it.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I guess I struggle with is like, when I record the parts in the studio, I record them the way that we write them. So like if it's a part that's supposed to be 16th note triplets on double bass, I don't do the floor tom part. I will warm up and I will get it right, and I'll do it on the double bass. But then I know in my mind that I even have to tell the guys in the band, guys, just so you know, like when we play this song live, I'm not going to play it this way every night, because consistently I will fuck it up. This way. And I'm at a point now where, as we're starting to write a new record, and there's certain parts that we're already writing that have this sort of intensity to it, like these notes that could be done with a floor tom and kick. I'm thinking, you know what, maybe I'm just gonna say fuck it and record it this way. I'll just convince the band.
I think you should. I think it would sound more interesting anyway.
But you could, I guess, yes. I think it sounds interesting because there's a new texture to it. But I also, in the back of my mind, think about the people that are out there like, oh, how come he did it that way? I bet he can't play it on double bass. And
I don't think those people exist. I think guitarists think that. Who gives a fuck what they think? I don't think there's a drummer out there. I think you get people who play double bass who are envious of people who aren't good at double bass and they're good at something else, and you get fucking vice versa. And then you get guitarists who just want one kick drum per guitar for the whole fucking thing.
Right.
Has to be here, has to be there, has to be double kick. I think you're like beating yourself up about that too much. Drummers will go, oh, that's sick. And they'll also probably go, that's fucking clever. I bet I could probably do that. Like, as in if I fucking practiced it, and at the end of the day, you're like, maybe teaching someone else, I'm getting fucking philosophical here, teaching someone else who has the same issue, like, oh shit, I could probably do that.
Yeah.
Because I struggle on those sections. I watched Blake from BT Bam's stream the other day, and he did something real similar what you're talking about, floor tom shit, and I was watching and I was like, that sounds like double bass. I could do that. Exactly what I'm just talking about. And then I went and practiced it, and now I'm thinking, if something comes up like that, I've got that at my fucking disposal.
Yeah. I do beat myself up about that because I think there's this like integrity to it of like, oh, like you wrote it double bass, you should play it double bass, but maybe I just shouldn't write it double bass. I don't know. And you know, it's funny. It's always the other guys in the band don't really care that much about this stuff, especially live. Like I don't think they even notice, you know, but I certainly get self-conscious about it, thinking that like they hear the difference between what was recorded and what I'm playing, and they think lesser of me, which I know in reality they don't. But part of it is because of, I think, the aspects of our history where like me and Misha would debate over certain parts, and we would debate over these things, and he'd be like, well, you know, being a guitar player, like it sounds so sick with double bass. You know, why don't we record the album this way, and then you can play it live however you want? And I'm like, okay, fine.
Every fucking guitarist and producer ever, Will Putney, exactly the fucking same. Let's just do it for the record.
Yeah.
Fuck off. Let me play what I want to fucking play. At the end of the day, maybe they're right because they're the fucking producers, but I feel your fucking pain there.
I guess the argument is the album is the you know, it's like, it's the recording of a moment in time that's going to live there forever, and it should be done. There should be a decisive, you know, or I should say, a decision made as to what is going to live there forever. So I'm okay to debate it at that point, but I don't know if it's better or worse either way. I think it'll again, the notes that need to be there are still there either way. It's just a matter of, do they all sound exactly the same, or is there one out of every 3 notes that has a different tone to it? And does that really fucking matter? I don't know. Maybe it does.
I can tell you this, it does not matter, and I can hear, I love Misha to death, I can hear from the way you're talking, it's just, you have just had that forever from him, because he's a guitarist producer, I guarantee you, no fucker in the crowd is going, oh, he probably did that because he couldn't do a double bass. They're probably going, oh, I see what he did there. That's fucking sick. That's what I'd do. And you know what? It would be tighter than you doing the double bass. If you're admitting you're not comfortable at it on every evening, which is the same with fucking me, it's gonna. You're playing consistently something else. No one gives a fuck.
Yeah. For me, that's the point. For me, it's way tighter, and it will make the band sound better in the live room doing it that way than it will with the double bass part. And that's only because it's a gamble on certain nights. Certain nights, exactly. I know I'm gonna nail it, and you know that the video of me playing Church Burner that's out there from tour, you know, Randy, who did our video on that tour and comes out with us all the time.
Love Randy
to death. You know, he filmed that a couple nights in a row. And of course we picked the one where, you know, I felt the most confident about the parts. And even if you watch that take, you know what's funny is if you watch that performance, in like the what I guess I would call like the solo call and response section.
Yeah.
I actually have a fuck up with my hands where like the stick kind of flies out of my hand and I have to catch it in the middle of a fill. I sacrificed that
For the feet.
for the feet, whereas in the other take, the feet weren't as good, but I nailed the solo section. I'd rather have a very, very visible fuck up with my hands because I just know I don't give a fuck. Normally they're great. That's 1 out of every 1,000 I fuck up, that kind of thing. Whereas with the feet, it's like I said, maybe 1 out of every 10, I'm perfect. And
so you want that one moment in time, you want to remember that one.
yeah.
In those videos that you literally commented on today, and one of the other ones, it's got a horrible 155 complex double bass section, and it has like one of those unison double bass fills with the snare, the Gojira things going into it. And I fucking nailed it on the take that's going to be on YouTube. I nailed it, the whole hard section with the feet. Then the last chorus, completely biffed the fill. It's the wrong fill. I miss the crashes, but the second take is literally exactly the same thing. The second fucking take, the feet weren't as good, and everything else was fine. I'm not having that. I want the fuck up, and I look at the camera when I fuck up the fill, and I just go, because I was happy with my performance on the bit that's usually a nightmare.
Isn't that such a fucked up thing?
It's so weird.
There's it's so interesting the things that we beat ourselves up about overall because that's exactly what it is. And I'm in my head almost every single night on stage just in those sections. Like I really do practice. I try to practice what I preach of like being in the moment and enjoying it and you know, being grateful that I have the opportunity. But when it comes to those parts, there's a little tinge of like self-doubt or self-fuck you that's like, oh yeah, so you had to do it that way, huh? Like, couldn't do it the real way that you're supposed to do it, could you, pussy? It's like, no, I just didn't feel confident. And, you know, it doesn't last. Like, it's there and I get the self-doubt and then it's out the door a second later and I really don't give a shit. And I've, especially as I get older, you know, I really don't care much anymore, but it's still a ghost that I have to deal with. Yeah. It's
still subconsciously there, even if it only veers for like a second. It's for me personally, if that song is song 6, I am not comfortable 100% in the set until song 7, even if I fuck it up.
Right,
because I can be having a good time, but
yeah, because there's always those little parts in, you know, throughout the set that you have to worry about. It's like out of 100 positive comments, there's 3 negative ones, and those are the ones that are heavier than the 97 positive comments that you get on a video or on whatever you post. It's like, why is the negative always so much heavier? And it's the same shit that I deal with on the drums. And you know, I can think back to moments where like me and Misha are jamming on stage together, and there'll be one of those parts that I play and he's right in front of me and we're having fun, but in the back of my mind I'm thinking, is he watching me? Like, and secretly in his head being like, oh, he did it again, didn't do it right, or didn't do it the way he was supposed to. And no, he's not at all. Like, that's not even in his trajectory. He's thinking about his own parts and just having fun. You know, I've asked him about that before. He's like, dude, I don't care. Play it however the fuck you want. I thought it was sick. I love how you do that. But I'm still, no matter how many fucking times I hear that from these guys, it's like, I just beat myself up about it. So, I don't know. It just is what it is. And I always get so... I don't know if anxious is the word because I've gotten better at it, but like there's a level of anxiety right now as we're writing this new material where I'm thinking about how I'm going to approach this in the studio and how I'm going to approach it live in this context that we're discussing. You know, I know I'll be able to nail these songs, but in what way? And using what techniques and what methods to make it, you know, to make it happen. So
what about this? This is what I've always done when I need to like change a part because it's fucking difficult. just buy a bit of extra gear. Why don't you get a gong drum that sounds exactly like your kick drum?
I do.
On that.
I have one.
Oh, you did? Oh, sick.
Yeah, I had Pearl with the Masterworks kit I have. I had them make me
I've seen it.
Yeah, in the car video. In the car video I did. So that's a bass drum with floor tom legs attached to it.
Innovator. Yeah, just fucking use that. That's way cooler.
Yeah, I could. It's just figuring out where to place it. Like, do I have that on my left side? Or, do I have it as instead of an 18 and a 16, I do a 16 and the 20-inch fucking bass drum. Yeah.
That's what you should do. Or sky it to the right like a war drum. Then you could do some cool shit.
Yeah, those things are fucking hard to... They're like those big gong drums are hard to reach.
Now it's getting like Sepultura. You should fucking... get some roots going on.
But you know how sick I am in the head is that like I literally think about how I have this drum that is there to accommodate exactly what we're talking about, but then I think about whenever I hit it, it's still not going to sound like a bass drum because my wooden small tip drumstick doesn't have the same attack as a bass drum beater. And that literally makes me think that it still doesn't accomplish what I want it to accomplish.
I think it...
I'm sure it does.
Kick sounds anyway. Like, I like it, but like... So like, if Bleed on record was triggered, I mean, sure there's samples in there or whatever, I would hate the way it sounded. But because there's the fucking texture in the notes because he's going... I actually like it.
Right.
Whereas, like, if you triggered Bleed, which I think he does live, but...
Yeah, I think he does.
On record, it would sound horrible. Digitized, fucking no variation weirdness.
But, talk about a dude who is older than us, respectfully, who can still accomplish these performances live. Like that dude is on a whole
amazing.
He's on a whole different level. And I remember I haven't had a chance to talk to him about this ever, and it's always something I've wanted to bring up, but then I also feel like it's the gauchiest fucking question that he gets all the time. But I would love to know what he specifically did to really because he's talked about it took him months to be able to nail that song. Right before he recorded it in the studio, and then now can play it live. So specifically? I want to know what he was working on, what he changed about his playing that made him capable of being able to perform that bitch of a fucking song every night. Because there's not a shot in hell that I could do that.
It's 8 minutes long, and it doesn't give up.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So. Is he, I wonder if he's at a point where he's been able to harness mentally the confidence to be able to do it despite the doubts that we're talking about right now, or if he literally just drilled it so much that it's completely just second nature muscle memory and he doesn't even have to think about it. I don't know what it is, but I'd be curious to know what his regimen was specifically, and maybe this is out there. Maybe he has talked about it and I just haven't read it, but
I think I have a similar thought with that song, which is like maybe learning that song is what I need to do.
Right.
It's like to just, because I've never done it, and everyone's always on like Twitch, like play Bleed, and I've never fucking done it. And maybe that would fucking unlock something, like whatever. It sounds like he's been through an ordeal, but like to go through what he went through. Walk a day in his fucking 8-minute the Hurter shoes and just fucking see. And maybe I would figure out like, oh, I'm doing this with my body and it's fucking shit. But he definitely has his own problems because he's talked about that before. Shoulder.
Right.
He triggers that song because, he can't keep the intensity for 8 minutes because no fucking human on earth can with just microphones for 8 minutes. So I just think he probably has a lot of these. But I think he's A, never talked about them, and B, probably won't, and C, probably doesn't fucking care.
Right. It's just, the thing is, though, with all of that said, I have never heard him make a mistake.
No, me neither.
I've never heard it. And like, he would probably argue, because he is such a nice, humble dude, he'd be like, oh, you have no idea I fuck up every night. But it's like, really? Where? Like, where do you fuck up every night?
It's crazy.
You know, like I've never heard it. So, but you know what? Like, maybe that is the reality of, for a lot of us, it's like we hear these things that bother us more than anything else, but most people would have no idea what those insecurities are. Even if we do make a mistake, it sounds maybe like it's intentional or it's supposed to be there. I don't know.
I think streaming has helped me so much for that, because I'll probably stream drums 3 times a week now for like 2 hours, and I will have a bad day and I will hate the whole thing. My hip, my neck, my back, my pussy, my crack, everything feels fucking wrong. And then I go home, I'm in a fucking bad mood. I fucking blew it in front of everyone, blah, blah, blah. And then I go through the VOD just to check if I've got anything for Instagram. And every single time I go, oh, it wasn't that bad. Every time. But in the moment, when you're in that fucking almost like Inception level of fractal thinking every millisecond, you hear fucking the space between 0 and 1 is infinite. You are in the fucking infinite. And you hear every single fluctuation. Then you hear it back in context when you fucking sat on it or whatever, which you don't always get to do on tour. And you just go, oh, wasn't that bad. Right.
Yeah, that always happens. But you know what's funny? That's been probably my, aside from committing to doing the streams on a consistent basis, the other thing that has deterred me from getting into it has been exactly what you described. Because when I am on my kit and when I'm practicing and I'm working on parts, I fuck up all the time. I make mistakes all the time. And I reset and I stop what I'm doing and I do it again. And that's been like, for me, it's like, do I want to consistently expose people to that? Do I want to demystify, myself that much to where there is no veil and it shows people how much I actually suck, on a daily basis on the kit?
Let me tell you this about that. I can only talk in my own experience. I did that when I started Twitch, and I do it every week on Twitch still. I fuck up constantly. Number one, people fucking love it. People message me like, and it's kind of a backhanded compliment, but I don't take it as a backhanded compliment. Like, oh, it's nice to see you fuck up. It's nice to know that you're not a fucking machine. It's nice to see you playing a little bit bad or something, which is, is fine. But then also, this is going to sound like this is why I'm doing it, but it's not. But my, quote unquote fan base is in the last, directly attributed to streaming, is fucking through the roof. Like, the amount of people now who, I got something, and it's going to sound really bad because it's not why I'm doing it, but I have this out, you guys should check it out. There's immediately 1,000 fucking cool motherfuckers in my Discord that want to check it out. And even through that, it's like crazy shit. I want something 3D printed. I just hit up the Discord. I'm like, yo, I want a 3D printer. And some guy's just like, hey, I am. What do you need? It's like, I need this thing for my coffee machine. I'll give you some money.
Yeah.
The community that I built, that's what I'm trying to say without sounding fucking fans. The community that's been built, and I think it's 100% attributed to me fucking up and being like, guys, I'm fucking blowing it today, but we're here together, has been crazy. I've never known anything like it. It's been sick.
That's a beautiful part of it, for sure. I've been drawn to the idea a bunch. I even know how much I practice during the week, and it's not, I feel like it's not enough to then incorporate, that commitment to then, open it up to people to see. It's so sporadic with my schedule, and it's so sometimes long, sometimes short. I just don't know if I would commit to it. And I have thought about it a lot, but I don't know if it's for me. And I think that also like your personality lends itself really nicely to that. I think I feel like you have the comedian thing, and I mean that in a good way.
I love it.
I
wish I was a comedian.
Well, but
more than a drummer.
Yeah, you have that sort of I don't know what the word is. I guess resilience to certain aspects of like what you might encounter in these moments, to actually be opinionated about it and outspoken about it and approach it in a way that like doesn't piss people off. I don't think I've ever presented myself that way, and that's not part of like my characteristics or my abilities. So like I don't know if it's I don't know how I would fit into that space in that way, you know?
I mean, it's not all funny.
No, I know it's not. I know it's not.
I mean, a lot of the time I'm genuinely annoyed at these people. I know what you mean. I came out the gate with like, if you're a dickhead, I'm going to call you a dickhead. Like,
right.
Matt Halpern suddenly roasting people like fans is not great press.
And there's times, man, like even on comments that I see now, like where like there's so many things that I wish I could just light people up on, but it's not worth it. And it's like I talk myself out of it because I don't know, like I don't really have a good reason other than like I don't want to deal with the drama of it, so just avoid it.
I think this is going to get real dark real quick. I think nearly killing myself and then COVID, just something flipped in my head, and now I'm just like, I think this, here it is. I don't want to go down that fucking dark conversation, but just now I just don't give a fuck. The COVID thing, maybe I gave a fuck at the start because I was like, oh, if I don't have the band, I don't have anything. And now I'm just like, who gives a fuck? Nothing's fucking real.
Yeah. That's the thing. I find myself being envious of people who just kind of say whatever they're thinking online for everybody to see. And I certainly do have my opinions about all sorts of different topics. I choose not to voice everything, and I choose to just kind of stay within the boundaries that I've set for myself that's like okay to live within, and then I really don't venture outside of that, even though maybe it's a disservice. I don't know.
I don't know. It's probably business-wise, like, it's probably the best thing to do.
Maybe so. I think the furthest I've gone, and maybe I don't know if you saw this. Do you? Maybe
I remember
you did.
exactly. I remember exactly what it is. I know exactly what you're about to tell me. Are you going to say his name?
No. What are you going to say?
I'm not going to say it because I don't want to say his name.
Did I say something publicly though? Was it something I did?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you replied to someone who we both know, who replied something on one of your videos. I can't even remember what you actually said, but you fucking roasted him. I don't
even remember. But
I'll just tell you after this.
Yeah, tell me offline. Because I don't remember what this is. But no, I was gonna say like, I don't know if you saw, but I was sent this message on Instagram that was like, I like your playing, but your band sucks. But at the same time, it's really important. But I like balloons, and it was. I'm
going to shoot up a school. That's what I read when I hear that.
Yeah,
that's how I read that.
It was so batshit crazy that I retweeted it. I took a screenshot, I blacked out the dude's name, and I retweeted it. And that's the most I've ever done in that regard, and I felt bad about that. I literally felt bad. I was like, oh man, like, I feel bad if the dude who sent me this reads it, he's gonna think I'm making fun of him, and like, I'm not trying to make fun of him, but this is too good not to share, at the same time. And it's like, I'm not trying to hurt anybody, but it's like, if you're gonna send this to me.
Exactly. Hey, let me tell you this. You beat yourself up about that. Go and check after this. I've done that 3 times today on my Instagram story. And one of the times I didn't even black the kid's name out. But it was like, this is what happened. Someone said, oh, just a bit of advice about your YouTube videos, right? If you don't know, I've been doing this thing on Twitch where I do the reaction video thing, but I am just insane. It's like a bit. I'm doing a bit. I say something and then I predict what the comment would be from a commenter, and then I do an insane voice pretending to be the commenter, and I pause every fucking 10 seconds. Like, it's supposed to be uncomfortable and not a real reaction.
Right.
The amount of people that message me, like the one today, hey man, just a bit of advice for your YouTube channel. You should probably limit to maybe 10 to 15, this was the actual message, 10 to 15 seconds of the troll voice per episode. It really slows things down. Also, try and not pause so much or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, love the content, love the streams, love the videos. And then I just retweeted, I replied, and then I took a screenshot of the whole conversation. I replied, I didn't black them out. I replied and I said, okay, so let me get this straight. You love the content, please change everything about it. Got it. And then I took a photo of that and I posted that, but I checked first. No profile picture, no posts, private account. And it was called like Fitness Girl or something. Then I posted that, and then I had some other kid come in and be like, hey, that was just her, assuming that it's definitely a girl, which it definitely isn't. That was just her respectful opinion. Seems kind of shitty and like you're full of yourself to dox her like that, as if I'd like given out her fucking address or something.
Right.
So then naturally I replied to that kid and then reshared it, but then I forgot to actually black his stuff out, so I just fucking shared it. That happened hours ago, Matt. Everybody,
if they want to find a reason to be upset about something or pissed off about something, they're going to find it. And I think there's a culture around that right now that is really bad. You know, it's really bad to be so ready to be upset and pissed off by any little thing and then publicly voice it and rile other people up. Most people are not like mentally prepared to handle that shit. And it's so fucking detrimental. It's so bad. And this is part of the reason why I don't say shit like this publicly, or like what we're talking about, because I don't want someone to get mad and spread the negativity that really doesn't need to be there in the first place.
Everyone's fucking bored.
Yeah.
I'm bored. I wake up, and if I'm feeling it, I'll reply to a YouTube comment just to start a little. If it's a shitty comment, I'll be like, yo, this is what I think of your shitty comment. And it gives me a little bit of sport. But people are doing that who don't have it at their fingertips. I've got a fucking plethora of shitty comments I could dip into to have an argument if I want. Some people don't have that, so they go looking for it.
Right.
Because they're fucking bored.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Who the fuck knows anything?
I don't care. Let's fucking move it. Let's move it.
Yeah.
Let's change.
All right, so what else we got?
I want to know about your fucking snare drum.
Okay. What do you want to know about it?
I want to know why. I want to know what. I want to know how. Okay, this is what I want to know. I want to know how many prototypes. And I want to know, did you pitch it to Pearl? Did Pearl pitch it to you?
I pitched it to Pearl before I even signed on with them. So part of the negotiations, for lack of a better word, for how we would work together, I was extremely lucky when I was with Mapex to be able to develop a signature snare drum there, and it's a great snare. I still have the original version. I have the production version here at my house. That snare drum's great. I've used it, and I probably will use it again on certain recordings and certain things. It's a great snare. So I want to be clear, I've seen people comment does this mean you're fucking shitting all over Mapex now and your previous snare drum? No, not at all. I'm really proud of that. It was I stand by everything I ever said about it. But when I went to Pearl, I was like, look, I don't want to lose what I was able to build there. And since having all this experience and time with that drum, I've thought about ways that I could improve upon it. And if given the opportunity to create a new snare drum, here's what I would like to do. Here's X, Y, and Z. And I gave them a whole pitch. And the pitch involved essentially the drum that it is now, but some other things too that I have ideas for and that I'd like to do, and maybe will come to fruition, maybe won't. I don't know. But anyway, when I signed on with them, it was under the pretense that we were going to do a signature snare drum, and we were going to start working on it pretty much from day one. And that was something that was ran up the chain even before I signed on with them. It was like, okay, bring it on, Matt. We're going to do a signature snare in the next however long. So we started working on it pretty much right away, and we got one initial sort of prototype done just to get it visually out there and kind of kick around some ideas. And then we got another one, and long story short,
what changed in the prototypes?
Okay, so
let him get to that, Craig, you fucking idiot.
Long story short is it was supposed to be released at NAMM last year. Okay, it was supposed to come out a year ago.
2020
at NAMM.
The cursed year.
Right before the shit hit the fan. This drum was supposed to debut and come out then. It was not the drum that just got released. And part of it was because there was with my schedule and with Pearl's schedule and everything that they were doing, we didn't really have enough time to tweak every little aspect of it. And because of the release date at NAMM, we kind of threw up a Hail Mary with certain aspects of the drum, and we're like, all right, let's just give this a go. Here's the things we want. Let's give it a try. We'll see a model of it right before NAMM, and we'll either make a decision to launch it or we'll make a decision not to, right then and there. Yeah. And when I saw the design of the drum, it was just, no, absolutely not. So it was they probably, I don't even know if they want me talking about this, but it was a black powder coated shell, but those yellow gaskets were not necessarily gaskets that fit on the drum. They looked like fucking hoop gauges in someone's ear, and they were big. They were huge, and they were the wrong colors, and it was just like it was like there was a game of telephone, where like I explained this to my A&R guy who totally got it, and he explained it to somebody who misconstrued a small piece, and then it got relayed to somebody else, and it just got out of hand.
This is me designing fucking merch.
So there you go.
Get the final thing back. I'm like, oh, it's shit. Thank you.
Right. So when I got it, I was like, look, guys, I'm sorry. Like, I can't stand behind this. My A&R guy, John, was like, yeah, dude, like, I don't want to stand behind this either. This is not what we want. This is not what you want. Let's just...
Side note, love that guy.
John Farquhar.
He used to work at Tama.
Yeah, Fark's great. Tama. He's great. So he was super cool about it, and we were like, all right, let's just put it on ice. Let's get this right. I was just like, look, I don't need this right now. We don't have to do this right now. I can't even go to NAMM. Like, I have tour coming up, and I won't even be there to launch it. All the cards were just, it was a bad hand. So we're like, all right, fuck it, scrap it. But that was great because it gave us a finished example of what we didn't want to do, and then we just kind of tweaked it down from there. So from there, we were really able to hone it in. And that's when we sort of hit a good rhythm with it of like, all right, let's look at every aspect of this piece of shit that was created, and let's turn it into a piece of gold, hopefully. So
was the shell the same? Like
the shell and everything? The shell was the same.
Did it sound good?
It sounded good. Yeah, it was just it was completely different aesthetically, right? And I don't think we hadn't fully nailed, because there wasn't time to, because it was mainly about the design. We hadn't really tweaked like what strainer is going to be on there, which lugs we're going to use 100%. I had mentioned the things that I knew needed to be there were like, needs to be brass, needs to be thicker than my previous drum, needs to have premium hardware, needs to have die cast hoops, and it needs to have this Evans head that I was working on with them as well. But the little accents and the little tweaks were things that were not decided on. Like, we weren't sure if it was going to be all black hardware, even like the screws for the lugs, like for the tension rods. Because they're silver, they're chrome now. They're not blacked out. So we were like, should they be black? Should they be this color? Can we do different color gaskets? If we do this kind of lug, like we were talking about using the other pearl lugs on the drum, can we put gaskets behind those that are also yellow? And then we found like the drum would be have way too many yellow accents and wasn't classy.
It looks fucking amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
So hot. That's
Thank
a hot
you, man.
drum.
I appreciate it. Thank you. We put a lot of effort into trying to get it there. You know, all the way up until like 3 months ago. Like 3 months ago, I was like, guys, unfortunately, the strainer that's on here is not the right strainer. We can't do this. Like this strainer is like the bottom level piece of hardware that they offer on their like intro level drums. I was like, this drum is premium in every other way. We need a more premium strainer on here. And you have to understand, it's not like they were trying to cheap out on it, but when you're making a drum like this, we all had the end price in mind of what it was going to cost people. And there was one iteration of this drum that would have, if we had released it this way, it would have cost people $1,200, which is a no-go. Like it is not a viable snare drum at that price, in my opinion, for the audience that would buy this drum. Like that is way too expensive. So we had to really tweak the premium aspects and figure out where we could make concessions in that way, but not sacrifices, if that makes sense. And dude, I gotta say too, people may not know this, and again, I don't know if I'm allowed to share this, but everybody between myself and Pearl decided to take a hit on the profitability, on the margins, to make this an affordable drum. Okay. Everybody, including myself, because there were features there are features on the drum that really should be more expensive, but by lowering our profit margins on it and allowing for it to cost a little bit more in contrast, we were able to get that street price that it is now.
I was thinking that when you were just saying, like, I was just thinking, what the fuck have you cut on? Like, because you haven't cut on the hoops. The hoops is the big fucker. Like, I was looking at your snare drum. Let me just change headphones quickly.
Yeah.
I was looking at your drum on stream yesterday, actually, on Twitch. We were doing a brass snare drum, like, get all the good brass snare drums and just have a look at them and see what the prices are and what all the shit is. And it was, I can't think of something that wasn't premium.
It's powder coated, which definitely adds cost. It's got powder coated die-cast hoops.
Die-cast hoops, fucking expensive.
It's a relatively, it's not a fucking 3mm brass, but it's a 1.5mm brass shell.
Did you try and make it 3? That was way too expensive.
I wanted to, but that was under the pretense that like maybe we would do a premium version at some point, like a limited edition run. I knew that would be too expensive, so that wasn't something that like I knew was realistic,
I love the fact it's not 1.2. Like a 1.2 brass is like fine, but the minute you go 1.5, 2, 3, that's when they're really fucking kicking.
Right.
And I've got a 5 bell brass.
Yeah.
And I've got the 3mm Tama bell brass. It's the best fucking snare on planet Earth, in my opinion.
Fantastic.
I have a 5mm
the
VK, right?
Yeah.
I prefer the 3. And then I have an SLP black brass, which I guess is probably the biggest competition from Tama for your drum, but it doesn't have fucking die casts, and the strainer's not nice.
Right. And that's the thing. There's so many...
Sorry, Tama, if you're listening.
That's the thing.
But it's cheaper. It's cheaper. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't have those, but it's cheaper.
Right. And that was the thing. Like had we not taken or made the sacrifices that we did, it probably would be $200 or $300 more expensive on the street than it is now. But we all felt like it was worth it to do that so that more people could afford it, more people could buy it, and it would make up for it in volume, as opposed to less people being able to get their hands on it. So I was, and that's part of why I was really stoked with the whole process, because from day one, Pearl was down to do that, to make a premium drum that would also be really attainable for people, affordable for people. So it truly is a premium drum. If I had been able to, there's other things I would have done to it. Like, I don't know if you've seen the strainer on the Pearl reference brass. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, it's the best strainer out there. Yeah. Two sides, it's got locks on it.
The flick on it, like, really just feels fucking solid.
Of course, and look, of course, I would have loved to have that on this drum, but it would have priced it way out of range to where even if we had made concessions, it wouldn't have worked, and it would have just been like an extra premium thing.
Yeah, like,
right?
Fucking
it's an amenity. It's an amenity. Yeah. Right? It doesn't necessarily make it better than it is now, in terms of what it sounds like in the functionality, because the strainer that's on there is great. So
yeah, it's getting suede instead of leather in your car. It's like, it's a different kind of sick.
Right. That's exactly right. So that's the process, and it's just a lot of back and forth, and we finally got it to a point where everybody was really happy, and we could all agree on the pricing, and we could all agree that, here it is. And I'm really happy with the result. And then the response has been amazing. Like, I never know what to fucking expect, especially because
it looks so good.
Especially because I had a previous signature snare that I thought looked awesome, that people got to know and love, that, a lot of people were able to purchase and use, and it was like, oh shit, like I hope people don't look at this and be like, oh, it's just like version 2 of that, which I've seen the comments. Of course, there's a couple people out there that are saying that, but it's totally not that at all.
But also, like, of course it's going to bear some similarities. It's a fucking signature drum. It's what you want from a fucking drum.
Right. It's just it's like, it was what I wanted to improve upon and then some. Like, that was the idea. So, but yeah, I'm really happy with it, man. It sounds awesome. I'm excited for people to get their hands on it and use it themselves. And it's at a price point where, like, if I could make it half the price that it is now, of course, that would be way even, that much better, but it wouldn't be anywhere near as good of a drum in that sense. I mean, this drum it's a premium fucking snare drum that is in relation to that, relatively extremely affordable.
I think the only other thing in the bracket, same bracket with not a 1.2. The SLP black brass is a 1.5 as well, but it doesn't look as nice. And I use one in America. I fucking love it, but I bought die-cast hoops to put on it. Most people that buy a drum don't want to fucking do that, and it's fucking expensive to do that.
Yeah.
And then you've got, like, Tama does a John Tempesta signature, but that's fucking expensive. That drum rips, but it's fucking expensive, and it looks horrendous. It looks like a fucking NASCAR. But it sounds incredible, but again, slightly more expensive. Is your one a 14x6 or 14x6? 14x6, which the Wraith was as well.
The Wraith was as well. I mean, I love the sound of a 14x6, but there wasn't a 14x6 snare drum in the Pearl line of snare drums. So
really?
Yeah, it's I'm pretty sure it's the only one. So in that sense, it was, you have to look at all that stuff too. Like when I was designing this with Pearl, it can, of course, it's based off my preferences, but at the same time, I also have to look at their current line of drums and not cannibalize their offering right now. Like, I can't make a drum that's the same as somebody else's signature snare.
Exactly.
So I had to look at that and be like, that was one of the things we got lucky with, and at one point, because they do have other brass drums, we were considering copper. So I have a version of it here at my house. It's a copper version, but I don't like the sound as much. It's thinner.
I just got a Tama copper. So I did the reverse. I did a different thing to you. So you made your drum match your car, correct?
I did. Yes.
So I made my coffee grinder match my snare drum.
There you go.
So I got a Tama copper Starphonic which I love, fucking amazing. But 14x7, which is fucking sick. And then I was buying a new coffee grinder, and it came in aged copper, and it matches my snare drum exactly. And I was like, fuck it, I've got to do it. I have to fucking do it.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's fun to do like those little things like that. They didn't use that footage in the video that we put out, but I talk about how I've always loved the contrast between like the black color, like the matte black, and like the yellow brake calipers. They're really cool, and it just happened to work with the gold accents in the tube lugs. So it's really, there's 4 colors on that drum. There's chrome, there's the powder coated black, there's the yellow gaskets, and then there's the gold pieces, like the inserts in the tube lugs. So it's
got nice little like a car, like different fucking little bits that are peeking out from wherever.
Yeah.
What you said about... Sorry,
no, go ahead. I was going to say, I'm excited about it. I'm happy with it.
What you said about that, making sure it has to fit their lineup. So I don't know if I can talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it, even though you're definitely listening. So I'm sorry. Please don't take back what you said. So I'm talking to Meinl about, maybe not even for like public release or whatever, about doing a cymbal. And they were like, do you want to do this cymbal? Do you want to do one of these cymbals? And, if it works, then maybe we can look like kind of, like the stacks, the fucking thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I would like it to be this size, because currently you have an option that I use and love at this size. And they said, unfortunately, we don't have the machinery to make that possible right now. Do you want it in this size? And I had to just be like, I'm really sorry, but you already make one which is sick that I use at that size. It would be pointless.
Right.
Like, you make a great product already. I'm still going to use that product. Maybe let's revisit this if you have the machinery to make what I want to do. And that's like, because I don't want, if it did go to sell to other people, I don't want it to just be a fucking, the same symbol with my logo on it.
Right.
Like, that doesn't help anyone. It defrauds the fucking consumer, and at the same time, it doesn't solve any problems.
Yeah, and it cannibalizes whatever other product is out there, right?
Exactly.
I literally had that same conversation with Chris over at Meinl today. In those videos I put out, I'm using an R&D ride cymbal that I had them make me a couple different versions of, just, again, for myself, because when we're lucky enough to be able to play to try out a bunch of different cymbals, and you start to see like, okay, well this one ride has a lot of what I want, but it's missing this, and this one other ride has a lot of what I want, but it's missing this. Hey, if I could make one that's like, the perfect combination of those two, I will. So I reached out. I was like, hey, can you make me this? They made me a bunch of these R&D ones to try out. One of the R&D ones I landed on was like, this is the shit. I fucking love this ride. This is going to be my ride cymbal. Whether it's whether it's something that actually gets released or not. My call with Chris today was just like, hey dude, like, I love this thing. Can you please make sure that like you guys can make me a number of these so that I have stock of them?
Yeah, regardless to sell to other people.
Totally. And then we ended up talking about like, well, he was asking questions like, well, does it make sense in any of the lines?
I thought you were going to say gent for some reason.
No.
Does it gent? Yeah.
No, he was just like, does it actually fit into any of the lines of cymbals that we have? Does it fill a space or a void that isn't there? And that's always...
I want to know more. Can you tell me? Tell me what it is. Tell me the size. Tell me the shit. No one's going to steal it.
Oh, no, I mean, it's a 21-inch crash ride that decays relatively quickly, and also at the same time has a bell that cuts.
Wow, where does it sit with a polyphonic though? Because the polyphonic to me is that.
I haven't used it, so I can't answer that question.
Okay, you need to get sent one of those.
Okay.
Because it fucking... Especially if you're, like, trying to make...
Is there a 21?
It's a 21. It's all I use in Stray, because all I use is the crash and the bell.
Let me see. Yeah, I haven't used this, but
I will say this is like I could use the bell a little bit more belly.
But let me ask you this: what's the decay like? Is it pretty washy and loud?
Yeah, it's pretty loud.
And that was the thing that I was trying to do, or that I was trying to accomplish, which is to have a crash ride that decays a lot quicker than most of the ones that I've used because of cymbal bleed in a live setting, and that was the goal. So that's the big difference probably between the again, I haven't played it, but between the polyphonic.
Play one though. It might be my favorite ride cymbal ever.
I'll definitely check it out.
Guess what? If you make, it sounds like we want the same things from rides. So if you better that, I will be playing the fucking Matt Halpern ride. 21s. At the moment, I'm playing the craziest. Speaking of cymbal bleed, I'm playing the craziest setup, and I've just been mixing something yesterday. And I'm like, why is there cymbals everywhere? And I was like, oh, because I'm using a 22-inch Byzance Brilliant Crash.
Huge.
23-inch heavy ride, which I crash on.
Yeah.
Might as well be a fucking spaceship. Sounds incredible, but
huge.
It's so much fun. But I think if I was tracking, I would need to make the cymbals higher, maybe, because they're in everything.
Well, but think about it in a live setting too. Like, you wouldn't even need to mic that fucking cymbal in a room.
I'm in a fucking hardcore band. We never mic cymbals anyway. That's why I wanted it. I was like, these are gonna be loud enough to cut through fucking everyone.
A lot of shit. Yeah. I mean, I'm sick of Alex Marquides and Ronnie Young yelling at me as our sound guys that tour with us, being like, your fucking cymbals are too loud and they bleed into Spencer's microphones.
You know what's crazy about that though? Is because you used to use a lot of the extra dry shit. How's that bleeding? It's so quiet.
Because the main crash that I would use was a 19-inch Byzance medium thin that has a
crash though.
Nice crash. The ride cymbal, that's the thing, I wasn't crashing on the ride, but then my left crashes have been, and I still will probably stay this way because they're a little bit off to the side anyway, they don't really bleed into the mics, 18 and 19-inch extra thin hammered crashes.
Oh, I think I saw you that time that we came to that Montreal show. Was it somewhere in Canada? I'm sure you were playing like extra dry at the time.
I may have been. I mean, I used to, but they're a little bit too dry for what I like.
For live, it's not cutting.
Right.
Probably have the opposite problem. You need to boost the fucking overhead so hard that there's drums in there.
Right. But dude, I mean, there were times when I was crashing on like the 22-inch dark ride, or I was crashing on like even the transition ride, Mike Johnston's ride. Like, that thing sounds great. It's just when it's literally right here, front and center on my kit, as great as it sounds to me, and for the, in the context of my drum set, it bleeds right into the mic because of how vibrant it is. And it just wasn't, my sound guys made it work, but they like to complain to me about it. So
Ronnie loves a complaint.
Oh, it's great.
Love him. Loves to complain. Amazing sound guy. Loves to complain.
Yep. But that's it's, I guess the point of it is like, it's always good to think about what else is in the lineup so that you're not reinventing the wheel. You want to try to figure out something that really suits you. And a great way to do that is to just base it off of what works and what doesn't work
in one, and then the other one, and then mix it up. I would love for you to get a polyphonic to see.
I'll message Chris. Yeah,
especially if you're like you're technically R&Ding these things.
Yeah.
I would like, because I don't ever play the bow of the ride ever. I crash it or I hit the fucking bell. The bow on the polyphonic isn't great, it's because to make a ride that crashes so well, the fucking science is that you make the bow thinner, obviously.
Go back and listen to the playthrough I put up, the Satellites playthrough, because that's that ride, this ride. So go back and listen, and you'll hear, like, right when it opens, I'm playing on the bow, and then I'm crashing it a little bit, and I'm hitting the bell, and you'll hear all the aspects of it in that video. You can check it out.
That's fucking sick. I found like my perfect ride in terms of bow, bell, and crash, but it's 23 inches. It's just not. I would have to change all of my fucking hard cases.
Well, I was going to say, right, it won't even fit.
My setup, it's the one that I'm currently playing on my streams. I love it, but it's just not practical.
Yeah, it's just too big. Like I don't even know.
I love cymbals. I could talk about cymbals all fucking day.
Yeah, well, it's the best part about the drum kit for sure. And getting to throw up new cymbals and try them out. We are indeed some crashes that were like a similar makeup where it's lathed on the bottom and hammered on the top, which creates sort of when the attack is vibrant, but it decays really quick that way. But at that size of like 17-inch, 18-inch, the way they were made, it sounded under, like in a live room, it sounds great, but under the microphone, it sounded like a choke. Like it was.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it probably sounded like a choke.
Yeah, it was way too cut off. So, but that's the fun of all this shit is like getting to tweak these things, and it's like a science project. It's fucking awesome.
That's what I love about cymbals. The complexity of a single cymbal is so insane, and then you need to fucking have 10 of them sometimes.
Well, but then there's times where you find what really works. Like my China, like I have my China that I will always use and never change. 20-inch Byzance China. That's it.
Yeah.
20-inch Byzance traditional.
They sound unbelievable. I melt them. I look at one and it dies.
Yeah,
I record with them every time. Every time I record with them.
I used to break the 22s a lot more for whatever reason. I very rarely break the 20s, but I also am just like, I'm unwavering on the fact that like that is my China cymbal. So I purposely try to like not beat the fuck out of it. But like you will see some performances where I decide to not care. Nice. Like if we reach
they just sound incredible.
Yeah, if we reach the middle of a tour and I have 2 more backups, I'll probably have a night if I'm really feeling it. Well, I will try to break it because I just, right. I know. Chris knows that though. He's aware. He's the one who's sending me multiple fucking, pallets of these goddamn things.
When I did the UK drum show, Norbert came to my sound check with obviously brand new cymbals. In the sound check, I broke a 20-inch crash. It was fucking, and it was just I was playing far too hard. I was just fucking super excited.
Dude, so is he your A&R guy over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got him and I've got Lawrence, who's the South African guy.
Yeah, sure. Fucking Norbert, man. He's the greatest. Did I ever tell you the story about the drum festival, the Mono Festival in Poland when he opened the show and did his like initial speech? Mm-hmm. He's just so matter of fact, and I don't even know if people laughed at it because it was such a European thing to do.
So German.
But he was like, he's giving his thing. We're so glad to be here. Yada 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 yada. And by the way, don't use your phones to film the performances because we're already doing it with much nicer cameras, and yours will straight up look like shit. So don't do it. That's what he literally said to the audience. He was like, we are recording this, so you don't have to. Besides, anything you record...
That is an amazing impression.
Besides, anything you record on your phone will end up looking like shit, so do not do it.
I mean, he went slightly Indian at the end.
Yeah.
That's a fucking great impression.
Thank you. But yeah, it's just so matter of fact. He wasn't even trying to be funny, but he's just, don't do it because everything that you guys do in the audience is going to look and sound like shit, and we don't want that out there publicly. So don't film this. We will.
There's the attention to detail that they have is fucking crazy. What I was going to mention before was I have my China as well, which is the 18-inch pure alloy. I just love it. I know it's not a B20 metal, but it sounds incredible, and it's as indestructible as a China gets. I think I should add an extra inch on it.
I feel like, is it the pure alloys that I've used? It's an
I
18
don't
inch.
I don't personally like the crashes. They're too bright for me, but the Pure Alloy custom crashes are amazing.
Oh, right. Yep.
The Pure Alloy China is unbelievable, and I could do a whole tour with one sometimes.
Those things are definitely, those are built to last. What's the reserve line? I haven't had a chance to play any of those. Have you checked those out?
I got sent by accident, I don't know why, I got sent a box, and it was the Foundry Reserve line.
Yeah.
And I messaged Norbert and was like, are these for me? Because you sometimes won't let me have a cymbal because you think I'll break it. And this looks like it's made out of a delicious, fucking foil from a chocolate.
Right.
What's going on? And he was like, yeah, they're not for you. That's a mistake. Can you please send them back? And I was like, oh, okay. So I didn't even play them. I took them out and I gave them a little tap and was like, oh, that's nice. I'm definitely going to break that.
Yeah. I haven't. I wonder if that's why I haven't gotten those either. But I'd be curious to know what they sound like for sure. Although at this point, I'm so like I've really solidified the sound that I like for the most part. And that's nice because I don't foresee really changing it up at this point. At least for Periphery.
The only thing I want is an inch on my China.
19. So is that what you were asking about?
I want a 19. I record with the 20 that you play with.
Yeah.
But I break too many of them. And the kind of stages that we play and the way our stage is set up, neck is so close to me that a 20 will either hit his bass cap or I have to have it so close to hitting one of my other cymbals for my setup.
Yeah.
But then an 18 is too small to really fucking get into. So a 19 is the one I want. They don't have the machinery for it.
Right. And it's very, like, they would have to build the machine for that.
Yeah. I told them I would fucking pay for it, and they still said, we'll see.
That shit.
Obviously, they don't need the fucking money. But I was like, let me pay for the fucking machine. I want this fucking China.
Oh, man. Are there any 19-inch Chinas?
No. Not on vinyl.
Right, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
On Zildjian make a 19-inch K, which fucking rips. And the 19-inch Paragon Neil Peart, again, fucking rips. It's free money, baby. Come on.
It's interesting. Yeah, I've never used a 19-inch China now that I think about it, but it would probably sound really good.
It's the perfect blend.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, I would play a 20 ideally. I just, in my setup, I can't do it. So the 19 solves the problem. Give me a little bit of a lower pitch, a little bit more fucking cushion for pushing, but I can still keep it in my fucking setup.
Yep. Damn, man, that's crazy that they don't have that machinery. Well, just keep grinding them about it, and maybe they'll.
I do it almost weekly.
Yeah.
But I think we're getting to the point where it's like we had a conversation, and they were like, when we can do it, we'll do it.
Right, and they will. They will. Yeah. They won't forget. That's the beauty of those guys. They're fucking really good at what they do, and they keep their word. So I got to wrap in like 5 minutes for another call.
We can wrap it right now if you want.
I know.
We're gonna have to part 2.
Yeah. There's other stuff you wanted to talk about too, isn't there?
There's fucking loads. Fucking meditation, Iceman,
Nifties.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I wanted to have a fucking massive talk about fucking. Yeah, we're gonna have to do another one. Hopefully this one will be such a smash. People will be like, I don't care if I get it the fucking following week. Give me the extra episode.
We can find a time. That's gonna be a topic though that may be polarizing based on the response. I don't know if I'm
seeing so much fucking negative shit.
Did you see?
This is what I was going for when I'm talking about the people being outraged by shit.
Yeah.
How many of those people have normal crypto and then? Like, I don't know the ecological impact of NFTs. Like, I don't know what happens.
Yeah.
But surely it's not far off what it is for normal crypto.
It's not.
Sum it up in 5 minutes. Go.
Look, I don't have the answers specifically. I'm going off of what I've read. But from my understanding, the charts I've looked at, what I've read, what the people who have been in crypto for a very long time have told me is that the Ethereum train is going to be rolling and creating blocks no matter what happens. Adding an NFT to that train makes a very small difference.
That's what I think
in the energy
thinking
consumption.
at it. Like, either you are annoyed with crypto or you aren't annoyed. Like,
Right.
the NFT isn't the problem, the Ethereum is the problem. So if you're annoyed, be annoyed at that. Like,
Right.
don't be annoyed at artists who are just trying to make a bit of fucking money with a new fucking concept during this fucking horrendous times. Be annoyed at the fucking... either be annoyed at the crypto for being unecological, or be annoyed at the situation that's driving artists to want to do this.
That's right. And
people wouldn't do this if they were paid properly.
That's
I
right.
have an NFT ready to fucking go. I'm just sat on it because I'm like, oh, I'm worried.
Well, the problem is there's so many segments of it where, like, you know, okay, there's something I read was about how there are certain artists in third world countries who now, because of NFTs, are able to feed their whole fucking village. And at that point,
That's fucking cool.
Right. Which this didn't exist before. But these people, like, if given the choice to either have everyone who they love starve, or to take part in NFTs that may or may not, because I don't know for sure, damage part of the environment, like, which are they going to choose? Well, if I were in that situation, I have to think if anybody who's arguing about this were in a third world country where they have to choose to either do something that might be damaging for the environment to feed their whole village, or starve to death. This is legit. Yes, that's legit. That's legit.
That sounds like, I mean, if I was trying to make a case for it, I would probably make up a fake fucking third world country artist. But no, it's great.
It is, and I mean, I can send you the article that I read that talks about that. But again, this is what I'm saying about segments of it, because then you talk about people in the first world, like you and me, who don't need to make that decision, and it's just an extra, you know, it's a. If you're just looking at it from a monetary standpoint, not the artistic standpoint,
yeah.
If you're just looking at it monetarily, it is an extra revenue stream for us potentially to take advantage of. That arguably people will say we don't need, especially at the sacrifice of our environment. And in that case, sure, that argument may be valid, but again, I don't personally know the data well enough to be able to say how badly the minting of an NFT really does contribute to the economic, or I'm sorry, the environmental damage.
I don't know either, but it's like I see the outrage, and I see, why aren't you annoyed at Ethereum? You're annoyed at artists because they're easy fucking targets and you're fucking bored. That's what I see. I don't know the ins and outs, but that's what it comes across as to me. I see all the comments. I see artists that I fucking respect who are incredibly left-leaning, like, quote unquote, on the good side, and they post that they got an NFT and they get destroyed in the comments.
Right. And these people, I know a lot of them, are even doing their part to offset their carbon footprint. Whether it makes a real difference or not, I don't know. But the fact that they are willing to take the step to donate towards whatever it is, whether it's just the carbon fund or it's planting trees or it's XYZ, they're doing that.
It's more than the banks or fucking McDonald's or fucking Tesla or any of that shit.
Right. And I mean, it's funny. Part of this article was saying that, like, just YouTube itself, YouTube uses up the same amount of energy as crypto. Not NFTs, crypto.
That's insane.
So the people that we're seeing who are bashing NFTs and bashing crypto, who may not be doing this with YouTube, are just misinformed. And that's what I'm without.
Nice save.
Excellent
save.
But it's the truth. But it is. Because really, I could be misinformed on what I'm saying too, because there really isn't enough data, and arguably there aren't enough of the experts out there, the people who have created Ethereum or who are working on this tirelessly every day are not necessarily the ones that are speaking up about these issues. Other people are. And the people that are speaking up about it are using the information they're getting from the person they talk to, and it's going through, again, a telephone potentially, and sharing this data. And on top of that, you have a lot of people that are sharing information who are extremely opinionated and arguably biased. I read a horrible hit piece on this whole thing from somebody who is not neutral in any way, and secondly, is a curator of a physical fine art gallery. And you mean to tell me this person doesn't
they don't have a fucking agenda?
Right, but it's still a loud voice, and in the media, it's part of the misinformation that people are digesting, and that's my point. It's like we all might be misinformed on this, but the reality is, it's probably worth it to learn about it and take the time to form your own personal opinion on it and strategy on it before listening to a bunch of people that are spouting off about something that doesn't even have legitimate information out there in a way that is clear for everyone to understand. You have to read both sides, participate in it, see what it's actually costing, because that's the other thing. It's like when I minted my personal NFTs, it didn't cost me exorbitant gas fees, which is what they're saying is attributing to the environmental damage. If you do it at the right time of day and you're careful about it, it doesn't need to be a massive gas fee, nor does it need to be a massive amount of time to mint something.
So what's the gas fee is for the Ethereum that's getting used?
Yes. The gas fee is the price you pay for the computers that are writing the transactions onto the blockchain to pick up your transaction, do the algorithm, and compete to do to then write it on the blockchain.
So when someone moves crypto from one wallet to another, same gas fee as an NFT?
No. It's different for a transfer than it is for a mint, for this or that, because of the amount of data and the algorithms that need to be written. So there are different levels of fees based on what's happening, but the traffic at the times when you try to mint something or make a transaction affects the price and the amount of time it takes, and therefore the amount of computations that are being carried out to do this, which
is so complex. Is there a chance that the whole thing is a hit from the fine art culture and from fucking people because in my head that's all I think. I think what my main annoyance is with people being annoyed at artists for this. Like I'm putting myself in the same fucking boat, but we got it pretty fucking shit right now.
Yeah,
like
we do.
If you got someone please let me know if I'm completely wrong about the whole thing and it fucking kills 500 deers if Beeple puts out a fucking photo of Trump that moves. But be annoyed at the system. Don't be annoyed at the artists that are using the system. They're only using it because they have to. They're not doing it it's not like fucking an episode of Captain Planet. There's an artist at home I'm going to torch the rainforest today. Look at this. It's a shining, spinning wheel. Buy it. Buy it and it'll destroy the rainforest. I'm going to dump toxic waste in the rainforest by doing this cartoon
right.
on the internet.
That's the thing. No one is doing that.
No one's doing that.
And there's a whole other side to this, which is the NFT community, the artists that are involved in it, it's a pretty it's a really cool supportive community of good people that are I would argue, I've said this before, but it's so similar to the way that people in our music community support each other and help each other and lift each other up. It's awesome. These people are not out with a secret agenda to destroy the earth. They're artists that are trying to take advantage of their freedom when having been essentially marginalized and pushed aside and shit on their whole fucking careers. And there's finally a way for them to take back that ownership. And then what you have happen is what you're saying, which is like a bunch of critics and people that are arguably misinformed
and bored
are shitting all over them and making them feel bad about these decisions. And you know, I can only speak for ourselves, but you know, like for Periphery, but like the reaction that we got from our fans when we even talked about NFTs was so brutal. It was like it was the worst feedback we've seen in the history of our career.
You want to do a song about Nazis? That gave you some fucking bad feedback.
You're damn right. But
that sucks. I want to have a look. I want to see, because I've only seen on like
it got to. I mean, you can look on. There's some Reddit threads out there about it, but like at the same time, we are not the type of band that will just say fuck you to our fans. We love our fans. We listen to them. We support them. We respect their wishes in this regard. However, what's frustrating about it is so much of it is very extreme of what they're saying. And again, I'm not saying that it's not true. I'm not arguing that like the things that people are getting gassed up about, no pun intended. I'm not saying that they're unfounded. I'm just saying there's not enough data to be so fucking mad. But I guess we're not ready to die on that hill, you know, to fight against people that are obviously very passionate about letting us know what they want and don't want. So for now, it's like...
Your fans fucking suck, though. I can say this. You can't. I'm really sorry, but like I have a phrase for just the type of people to offer unsolicited advice, but not like you did, like unsolicited critiques on fucking everything, and you bet your fucking ass every single one of them listens to Periphery. Fart sniffers. They sniff fucking farts. They sit at home, all of them, fart into their fucking hand, share it around and go, oh, what do you think about this? What do you think about the tone in this one? Yeah, there's like a Brussels sprouts thing in there. Shut the fuck up. Listen to the fucking music. If they do the NFT, then be like, guys, maybe this isn't the move. I don't know, though. Let me fucking read something about it. Is there not a way you could carbon offset this? Blah, 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 blah. Shut the fuck up. And I like your band, but I don't fall into these people.
Well,
speechless. Should we leave it there?
Yeah, let's leave it there. The only thing that I'll say, there's a small conglomerate of our fans. I don't know if they sniff their own farts, but they do love to talk about their dicks a lot.
Really?
Oh, they like to tell us when they have boners and that we made them climax and all sorts of stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but there was none of that when we started talking about NFTs. It was the total opposite, that their dicks crawled up into their bodies and
no
went
boners.
away. So
they didn't get any fucking Captain Planet nuclear waste boners. I'm sure there's one guy at home like, yes, Periphery are going to destroy the earth and I will masturbate. I will masturbate onto the scorched earth that is left behind from Periphery's single NFT.
Oh, man. Well, look, we can certainly talk about this more as we move further down the line here, but you know, it is a very hot, heated topic right now, and there are a lot of people that are up in arms about it. But I have to go back to the fact that there is also a proven amount of misinformation out there, and I don't think the artists are the ones that should be getting the brunt of it. 100%. I really don't. Especially because I have a feeling that whether people like it or not, this is the way things are going to be going. NFTs are going to be in a period of years, if not sooner. They're going to be a part of everyday life.
I fully agree. Anyone that I know with kids, or any of my like nieces and nephews or whatever, like they want something for Christmas, it is a non-fungible thing. They want Fortnite skins. It doesn't exist.
Right.
You're paying for the flex. Like, this is the fucking future. Maybe we just need to figure out how to carbon offset it or get all the information out there.
And there are people, a lot of people and companies working on protocols that are way less taxing on the environment. There's a number of them out there. And even the people at Ethereum are working on Ethereum 2.0, which is told to be a massive or will be a massive improvement. But of course, there's a lot of naysayers, and there's a lot of people that don't believe that's happening. But I also don't believe that the people who are behind this are inherently evil and are inherently trying to destroy the same earth that we all live on. And it's not a perfect medium yet, but these people are brilliant, and I have faith that they will figure it out.
Could also conspiracy tin foil hat time could be coming from the banks as a deep dig on crypto, because the two bankers are either doing one of two things right now: fucking misinformation and shitting on crypto, saying that it's fucking gambling, blah blah blah, or like fucking the guy from JP Morgan and shit buying in heavy because they fucking know that that's the future.
It remains to be seen.
Exciting times.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Just you got to do your own research, and like don't just jump on a bandwagon because you think someone spouting something is smart. Like read as much as you can, form your own opinion. You know, that's the advice that I would give to people who are mad about this right now. Just form your own opinion, and if you still are mad, then okay.
Just be mad about something else going on. There's so much more horrible shit than a bit of fucking art. Come on, you fucking fart sniffers. You have another call. I could talk about this all fucking day.
Yeah, I do got to jump on. But thank you for having me back, and I will send. Yeah, I'll send this to you.
Send it. I'm gonna do it right now. So it's done.
All right, man.
Okay. I appreciate you.
All right, bro. Talk to you soon.
Bye.